A quick game I got to play with a buddy earlier today. We'll call him Tomcat for anonymity. But I got to play Tomcat multiple games today, and I had a lot of fun with this one. So I wanted to show you. We start off with e4. I'm playing white, and he's playing black here. He responds with the strong e5. I get the knight f3, knight c6. And typically I'm a Ruy Lopez player, right? Typically I enjoy that Spanish game or the Ruy Lopez. But I decide, just for fun, because I'm playing with friends and it's not a tournament, just for recreation, let's play that d4. He captures, playing the Scotch, going into a Goring gambit. He accepts it, push the pawn, looking for that Goring gambit. He actually plays the knight f6 move, and I believe we transpose again here into other variations. So I'll push the pawn on the knight, trying to kick the knight away, and then strengthening this pawn center here, using the e-pawn, the d-pawn, well, soon to pull the c-pawn over to the d-pawn. He moves knight up, I capture, getting that strong center, trying to get a good firm hold on all these dark squares, as well as trying to take away as much space as I possibly can. If he's not careful, I will push, taking away even more space from him. He checks. I pull the knight out. The reason being is that I see, as I stated before, that these dark squares are going to be really weak here. And I want to be able to capitalize. So that's what I do. I try to reserve my dark squared bishop and instead utilize that knight to c3 to hopefully try to hold on to some of these other squares as well, while his knight is over here displaced on the side of the board, right? So here we go. He plays d6. I push the knight away, pushing it to the only square that it has available, which is that very vulnerable c6 square, where now I'll be able to utilize that dark squared bishop to eliminate it, playing here for an endgame. Not so much middle, not so much opening, but playing for the endgame, trying to win it there. He pulls back and immediately I snap it off the board. He captures, strengthening that center. So check out this. It's starting to look like the Great Wall, right? I'm building that base. I'm trying to take that space. I will push if given the opportunity. And I'm trying to make sure that his dark squared bishop, his light squared bishop can't enter the fight eventually. I try to do the core 4, which is very simply develop your pieces, control the center, king safety, and then, rook activity. But in addition, I try to play prophylactically and take that away from my opponent. So I want to limit their ability to develop and limit their ability to get castled, control the center, all those things that I want to stop them from doing. And that's kind of what I attempt to do here. So he captures back. I capture the pawn. And my thinking here was I did not want him to capture and risk messing up the pawns, pulling my pawns out of place. So I'm thinking if I capture first, then I don't have to worry about recapturing. Then I have an isolated pawn here and an isolated pawn here. I didn't consider knight captures, which then I wouldn't have that isolated pawn. So I capture. He pulled, which I activate his queen. I develop my bishop. He develops his. Now my goal here is to stop him from castling. That's my goal. I thought by pulling the queen over, he's not going to want to castle, because now my queen's going to be aiming at that weak pawn, while my bishop can eliminate this knight, which is the only protector for that pawn, in the event that he does castle. Well, he calls my bluff, and it was in this moment I realized that pawn is poisoned. If I take this, bad things happen to me. So instead, I just decide to ruin the pawns over here as well. Again, playing for an endgame. So now if we look at it, we notice that black inside of his camp has double isolated pawns here, double isolated pawns here, isolated pawn, isolated pawn. In my mind, as long as I play this right, I should be able to win this endgame fairly easily. I castle. He pulls bishop up. I had been thinking about trying to centralize this knight for a while. He just made it easier when he attacked it. He pushes pawn on the knight. I reposition the knight here, and I'm thinking, how can I put that knight on dark squares, an advanced post? So what I'm looking for is I am looking to draw this pawn, looking to draw his pawn further forward so that I can then place my knight here where it can block off this file, and I can use my 2 rooks to fight over on this side of the board if possible. I do have to obviously worry about his pawns or his rooks having activity on the F and G file. So I'm trying to position that knight on a dark square where the bishop can't get to it. He pins the knight. I protect it, pulls the rook over. Now, I pushed this pawn just to get it out of the way of the bishop because I felt like my rook was pinned over here defending this thing. And I didn't want to leave that rook out of the fight, out of the fray. So I wanted to find some way to quickly get it back into the fight. I pushed the pawn. He pulls the bishop back, attacking my pawn here, utilizing this rook, pinning there. So I pull the knight out, reactivating the knight, putting it, in my opinion, a less than optimal place because I wanted to have the ability to be aggressive with that knight, not just play defensive. Yes, the knight is doing a great job at covering these 2 squares, which the bishop is, of course, attacking, and it is harassing the bishop, but I wanted to drop it on dark squares. So I wanted to put it here or here to be able to influence where his king could move, trying to restrict the movement and play towards the endgame, as well as giving it that advanced support point of this c5 square or this e5 square. I didn't do either. He brought the bishop back. I bring king up, rook down, rook over. Here I'm trying to take that file from him. He brings rook over. I bring rook down. Now I don't care about that pawn. The way I look at it is the king can clean up these pawns in the endgame later on. I'm not worried about it. Me, I'm just trying to take the real estate from him, keep his king pinned to the back, keep his bishop out of the fight, and that's my way of doing it, is dropping that rook down to the 7th rank, so he is forced to respond to those threats. He pulls rook up, I double. He captures, I capture. Now, here it's starting to look like a race to me, and I don't want that. So it looks like, hey, I'll take here, he takes, or I'll take there, come back, try to pick up the pawns, and on the other side, he's trying to do the same thing, right? And it turns into a race where I have to worry about this pawn. So I really didn't want to play it that way. I looked over it later on and realized I didn't have to. But what I decided to do is I play knight back, and I'm pulling for either a mate or to trap that bishop. So the way I see it is I'm going to try to drop this knight in here if he decides to take that pawn, and then I can play for mate or stealing this bishop by rook captures, knight up, and I'm looking to very simply eliminate his bishop. If the bishop moves away from that spot, now I'm able to play the rook down for the checkmate because the knight holds him in place so he can't get out. But he sees it. He plays rook over, and now I'm looking to trap the rook. And so the way I look at it is that I'm going to bisect the board, the king side and the queen side. This rook is trapped over there. I sack the rook intentionally. He takes, I play that check. And so what I see here is that this king, if we look at it from the king side and the queen side, what's occurring is that the queen side of the board is going to be locked up. This rook can't escape. The rook can't play here because of the knight. Can't play here soon because of the pawn. Here because of the knight. Can't play here because of the pawn. So I trapped the rook. Computer says it's a draw. I definitely thought it was a win. So I play up. here. And I figured my king can push his king around so that I can get to these pawns. Try to run these in while his rook, while the queen side of the board is sold up. I'll play on the king side, pretending that these pieces, this knight and this rook, don't even exist. Push, push. King up. He plays here. He realizes the rook isn't helping him. I'm surprised he didn't sack it, but it is what it is. Take, knight back. Now what he actually does is he plays here. I play here, he plays here. And I capture, and then he resigns. It was a fun game. But those were my thoughts regarding that game. I hope they help.